Okay, so hopefully you're in Google Classroom. Hopefully you accepted the invitation so that you are now in Google Classroom. 9 Maths Extended B is the name of our class. It's a catchy title, I know. So what I will do during the year is I will add to Google Classroom whenever I can. Whenever there are theory notes that are required in class, this particular unit is not theory heavy, but whenever there are theory notes, I'll try and capture those theory notes by recording them. I've got my AirPod in my ear here, you probably might have noticed or not, and I've got a screen recorder on so that what I'm saying now will be captured. So that means that if you are away for any reason, particularly in this environment, you might have COVID or you might be a close contact and you can't work. If you are sick, I do not expect you to be working. Obviously, I hope that's obvious. But if you are able to at home and you want to, you're at least able to keep on top of the work. So I will use Google Classroom as my main way of getting information to the class. So there are two parts to Google Classroom, just in case you're not used to it. There's this part here, which is the stream. And basically, as I post stuff into Google Classroom, you'll get a chronological order in reverse. So the most latest at the top and the oldest down the bottom on the stream. This is really important. Not enough people appreciate the next tab, which is the classwork tab. You won't see any of the grey ones here. They're still in draft. But in the classwork tab, all of the information is organised according to topic. So you can see this first topic is called Networks and Topology. And there's one thing in underneath that which says Topology Booklet 1 Part A. And that is what I've given you a physical copy of. So if you're not used to using Google Classroom, just ask me and I'll just show you what you need to do if you're not sure. But effectively, when you click on this, or from the stream, if you click on this, it'll launch up the topic with the instructions if there are any. In this case, there aren't any. It's just a link to the booklet. This booklet, when you click on it, will give itself your name at the top there, so that'll be all good. And there'll be a document for you to fill out, which I'll show you in a second. These two tools here, diagrams.net and YED Live, both of these are designed to show to help you make network diagrams by computer rather than doing them by hand. I don't mind what tool you use, as long as the network diagram looks neat at the end of it. I've actually got an example of how to use YED in the document, and I'll show you that in a moment. So when you click on your document, you'll get this, Network Booklet 1, Part A, and you'll get Part B and C a bit later on. I'm just going to make a copy of this so I don't accidentally stuff things around. And I'd like you to follow along with me, if you don't mind, as in do it as I do it. So I only want you to put answers into these blue boxes here. It's just a table. There's nothing too magical about it. So you just click and type in here. That's all. You can type anywhere. You've got full edit access, but just type in the blue box. That's what it's for. Where there's a link here, it says use equation editor. That'll give you a short video of how to use equation editor in Google Docs. And it says use YED or diagrams.net to create your diagrams. You can use other software if you want to and just copy and paste them in, or screenshot them is fine as well if you're used to something else. This will take you to the actual online app. Last year, I didn't even think I had to say this, but last year, some students went, I think I'll make a Word document, and they downloaded it into Word and worked off Word. Please don't do that. I don't know why they did. Maybe it's because they're more familiar with Word, or I don't know why, but please don't do it. I want you to use Google Docs, because that means whenever I look at your assignment, I can see where you're up to. And I think as a as a student who should be digitally competent, you shouldn't be putting yourself into a position where you're saying, I can use Word and only Word and nothing else but Word. So doing something about that, like forcing yourself to use Google Docs as an alternative word processor, is really good for your technology skills. So please use Google Docs. Anyway, so here we go. So you basically work your way through here. We can do this together as a class, I think. So it says here, write down the degree of each vertex in this network. So you can see that each vertex is labeled with an A, and all you're doing is you're counting the number of edges that go into that vertex. So, I'll just let you shout this one out. So what's the degree of A? 4 is correct. Everyone said that okay? B. C. Yep, 1, whoever said 1. Everyone okay so far? See if you can get ahead of me then. D. 3, that's right. Not 2, but 3. Sometimes they talk about half edges. So there are, if you think of each edge as being 2 half edges, then you can count the number of half edges connected to each dot. So there are 3 half edges connected to the vertex D. E? Sorry? Yep. And F? Huh? 4. And G? No, there is no G. Then capital sigma edges bracket network bracket is foreign, isn't it? But that symbol there, which you'll see a bit, it's capital epsilon, and it simply means the sum of. It's maths fanciness for the sum of. So this is, what is the sum of the edges? So count the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think. These shouldn't be in bold, by the way. That's an accident. So the sum of the edges, or the number of edges really, is 9. Everyone okay with that? Okay, draw a network with 3 vertices x, y, z, whose degrees are x3, y3, z2. Okay, so I'm going to do that in a second and count the edges in your network. And this time you're asked for the sum of the edges and the sum of degrees. And it says put your diagram in the box below. So, I mean, this is just a Google Doc. We will never print this out, I would hope. So it doesn't matter if this box ends up being on the next page and stuff like that, but do try and keep stuff together if you can. But now I want to just show you how you can make the network itself. So if I go up to, I'm going to use YEd, but you could use diagrams.net. Now, I've already accessed YEd before, so it'll probably load. If it asks you to sign in, just sign in with your friend's Gmail account. So I'm going to start with a blank diagram. And what you have here is nodes, which are basically your vertices, and edges, which they call edges. It's handy. So what you can do is you can grab a node and drag it in, like so. You can resize the node to make it, the vertex. You can resize it to make it smaller. So if I hold the shift key down, it will keep it like a circle rather than an ellipsis like that. An ellipse, sorry. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and make it quite small. Yeah, like that. So there's my little my vertex. If you go up to here where it says properties, you can do things like change the color if you don't like orange. Like so. Now I've got a little purple vertex. Back to palette. And you can see there's a recently used here as well, so you can keep on getting that dot. You can also, if you want to, control click or right click and make it the, where is it? Default. Set as default node style. So now whenever you draw it, it'll be a little circle. So I can drag that in and get another little one. Then I can grab an edge. If I scroll down here, I'm going to choose a little curvy one like this. And then if I click in the middle of this one, I don't know if you can see it very well, but if we click in the middle of this one here, it might be hard for me to do when it's so small. The little circle in the middle there, I can drag out a little arrow and, come on, connect it to the middle of the other one like so. Now, the good thing about connecting them is that if I now move this dot, the line moves with it, which is kind of handy. I don't want that arrow though. We shouldn't have any arrows on our edges, sorry. So I'm going to click on that line and I'm going to go to the properties section again and I'm going to say here, turn off the arrow. So I've got starts with nothing, it's a line in the middle and it ends with nothing as well. And now I've got my edge. And again, I can set that by right clicking or control clicking. I can go down to the style and say set that as the default edge style. So that's just the way it'll be from now on. another vertex, and another edge between them, like so. Now they're all very straight, and we're a bit used to curving. So if I click on my curve here and then click in the middle, I can actually drag it out a little bit. Oh, I thought it was going to go curvy anyway. That's disappointing. So I can make it a little bit curvy. Well, it's not really, is it? But if I click on that line and go properties and go down to, where is it? Smoothing here. If I make smoothing 100%, it'll make it curvy instead, like that. There is a video in the document that explains all this. I'll show you where it is in a second. There you go. So it's nice and curvy now. Now if I set that one as the default, that's better. So set as default edge style. So now, what do we say? That has to be X, doesn't it? It says make X degree 3, Y degree 3. So I can go from here up to here. Oops, no, I did that wrong way, sorry. I'll do that again. If I can. Doesn't want me to stop. Okay, so I'll do that again. So if I put another vertex up here and draw a dot from here to here, now I've got a degree 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, if I want to, I can curve it. Okay, that's the idea. I won't sort of muck around with it too much. In order to put a label on, if I double click on the vertex, it'll allow me to put a letter on it. So I can make that X, I can make that Y, I can make that Z. I think I've got 4 and I shouldn't do. Yeah, I stuffed it up with an extra one. But that's basically the idea. You can just put little labels on it. And if you need to move the label, you can just click on the label itself and then you can drag it around the spots. So if you want it there instead, you can do that. Okay, so that's probably the hardest bit to get your head around, is to draw the diagram, but I think it is worth practicing. And then once you are ready to put it back into Google, into your network booklet, so you've got your diagram done. I know mine's not right, but just conscious of time, I'm not going to muck around with it too much. If I go back here and go to export, if I tick export only selected area, you can then basically select your diagram. There might be more than one diagram on your pages. So select the bit that you want to export and then export it as a PNG. So you just do that and it will download it into your downloads document. But if you're using Chrome like I am, the PNG will just appear here in your downloads bar down the bottom. So that when you go to copy, when you go to your network booklet, rather than going to your downloads folder, just click here and drag it in. And there it is. And then if you want to, resize it so that it's still on the same page, like so. And that's basically it. Now, I'll go through a little bit of this in tomorrow's lesson because that was pretty quick at the end. But like I said, somewhere down here, I'll find it and put it up closer. But I have created a little video which explains how to use YEd so that you can go back and look at it. I know it's a technology thing, but I think it's well worth you learning how to use this so that you can create some more professional looking reports than just doing a hand-drawn diagram.